Josie Altidore. It's spectacular.
Deep in the throes of the final push to the playoffs, this is MLS MatchDay Live at the end of 4+ hours of live MLS action, all together now East and then West. And what a day it has been in Major League Soccer, and we've got a lot to chew on after we just saw. Let me introduce you to the panel right here on our main set. We've got the armchair analyst, Matt Doyle, Heath Pierce, former MLSer and U.S. national teamer as well, Adrian Heath, former head coach of Orlando City SC, and Kalen Carr. He is the host of This Week in MLS and also MLS Cup finalist with Houston and a longtime MLS player as well. And I mean, look, I was going to start with you, Kalen. After watching all of that at once, what has stood out? What's at the forefront of your mind right now?
I think the atmosphere. I really liked the Toronto-Montreal game, and then on the West, the Dallas-Seattle game. I thought those two games had some great energy. You see these two teams, even after the whistle, starting to mix it up a little bit. This is the best time of year. You start getting closer to the playoffs. Every game counts, and so I think the atmosphere for me really got me kind of hyped up.
Adrian, what stood out to you?
I enjoyed the Eastern games in the morning. Plenty of goals. Bradley Wright-Phillips getting another couple of goals. Piatti coming to the fore on the back of the Drogba news. So there's been plenty of action today.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into the Didier Drogba news as well. The Supporter Shield, we'll talk about playoff implications and Supporter Shield implications. But did you learn anything new today watching?
I learned that Bradley Wright-Phillips can score more goals and just more and more goals, but that the Golden Boot race is still on. That's exciting. That's the most exciting part of today.
You don't sound like a defender, Heath.
Listen, I spent a career defending, and now I get to enjoy the other parts of the game, being in this seat here.
You haven't seen him play men's league recently.
He never passes.
He's a striker now. Yeah.
I do score once in a while.
Matt, how about you? What stood out?
I know it's recency bias, but Mauro Diaz being stretchered off is the story of the day. I know we're going to get into Drogba and everything else, but he is the best player on the best team in the league. They got the win. They lead the Supporter Shield race, but it's brutal to see a guy like that making whatever hand motion that was after he got tackled. I hope he's okay.
Also, DC.
Yeah.
Terrific today.
Yeah, another
DC.
win for DC United.
Another win, and great to see RFK nearly full. Great atmosphere.
31,000 people. I mean,
largest crowd since Beckham was there in 2008.
Yeah.
You know, so
they're all there to see Patty Mullins.
Yeah, scoring again.
They definitely got to see the Patty Mullins show. Look, lots going on. You mentioned Mauro Diaz. That's a developing story. We don't know exactly what's going on with that. What we do know is that Dallas, at the end of all of this right now, sit atop the Supporter Shield standings, but it is tight, and it's going to come down to decision day. For more on that, we send it over to the touchscreen, where we have the host of Extra Time Radio. It drops on Monday and Thursday. It is Andrew Wiebe.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Russ. Well, look, Colorado held their destiny in their hands. I voted Shield Colorado. It may not end up that way. Let's take a look at the table here in the Supporters Shield. On 59 points, FC Dallas, a big win for them today. Carlos Ruiz, Pescadito getting it done. Right behind him at 57 are the Rapids. One game left for both. The Rapids hosting Houston. On the other side, Dallas have to do some CCL action in midweek, and then they go to LA. Those are tough matchups for them. Also, you guys mentioned Mauro Diaz. Kellen Acosta coming off in this game as well. I wonder, would Oscar Pareja trade this positioning for two healthy stars going into the playoffs? I'm not sure. And on the other side, I got kicked off the main set. Didier Drogba got kicked out of the starting 11, and he didn't show up to work. I'm here. I'm right here, and I'm so interested to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Wiebe, you're a true professional, and this show is not about you, though. It's about you watching this show at home. We need you to interact with us so you can direct us in the places that you want us to go. And for that, we've got Susanna Collins and Kevin Brown over in the social lounge.
What's up? What's up, Russ?
What do you got? How does everybody get involved in the show? What's the hashtag?
So you guys, we want you to continue using that hashtag MLS Live Show. Tweet us your questions, your comments. Just talking about the Drogba situation. We've got
Free Didier.
Kelvin Loyola says Piatti MVP, Drogba prima donna. So that gives you a sense of how the fans are feeling about that.
Has the person who said this ever stopped the Civil War? No. Oh. If you end the Civil War, you show up to work whenever you feel like it. Free Didier.
We're also resurrecting our hashtag battle for the Supporters Shield. We want to know who you guys think are going to take it home. In the pregame show, you guys thought that Dallas would win it, and it's looking like that could be the situation. Right now, Dallas leading in the polls, but if they win or draw next week, they've got it in the bag, sounds like. So there you have it.
All right, guys, we'll take it back from you. The top story is Didier Drogba. This is from Mauro Biello, the head coach of Montreal Impact. He said after the game, the 2-2 draw between Montreal and Toronto, that he told Drogba that he wasn't going to be starting. And Drogba said, well, then I'd rather not play. I'd rather not be in the 11. And he left. And that was the end of that. And he said, the club will take care of it. You've had to make tough decisions as a coach before. How do you deal with a situation like that?
Well, hopefully they'll leave him out of the 11. And hopefully the people upstairs, the directors and the people who employ everybody, allow Mauro Biello to now carry on. There's no excuse for what Didier Drogba's done today. This was a huge game for them against Toronto. And he should have been there for his teammates. The reason he's not been playing at the moment is he's not been playing particularly well. We all know he's a great player, massive name, and this time last year was the talisman for him. Took him all the way through to the playoffs. But he's let everybody down today.
Being the best player on the team, there's an added responsibility. People watch your reactions. You set the tone in the locker room, the mood of the group. So when things aren't going your way and you act petulant, you don't show up, that says something to the rest of the group about how much you care about them, and the team should always be coming first. So disappointing reaction from Drogba.
And Kalen, we both played. Adrian, you as well. There are times in your career that you feel like something doesn't go your way, and you want to act out on it. You feel at that moment this is the right thing to do, and you have to take that step back and say, hey, this isn't about me. This is about something bigger, and I can deal with this later. And today he didn't make that decision.
He didn't, but his manager did, and that's a tough decision for a young manager to make, and he chose correctly. I think it's on the front office and the ownership to come out publicly and support Mauro Biello this week, because it's got to be about more than Didier Drogba going forward.
Boy, it's going to be an interesting week in Montreal.
Oh, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's going to be unfortunately, it was a great game, 2-2.
Yeah.
Good to see Giovinco back. But the great thing was that Piatti took the mantle today.
Yeah.
He's been fantastic for them all year. And today, when they needed him, he was the guy who came up big for them.
I think, based on what you guys are saying, we're about to find out where the power lies in Montreal this week. But let's get to the highlights, because it was an entertaining game between two rivals from up north, Montreal and Toronto, both coming into this game with something to play for. And we came out of it with something to watch for sure. Let's head up to Montreal for the action. These two teams faced off in the playoffs a year ago. A game won handily by Montreal. This game, Piatti is the one that gets the impact on the board first.
Well, that's exactly where we thought he would set up shop, in that left channel right there, create a little bit of room, and he's one of the best in the league when he has that angle, and that's how you get 1-0.
But Josie Altidore has certainly been on form, and he continues here.
Well, we spoke about it before the show, and you look at him, he's happy, he's scoring goals, and when you can't score a goal, nothing goes right, and when you can, everything goes right for you.
And it's going right for Montreal here, because they pick up the penalty call.
Yeah, and Mauro in this position here, he's a guy that has enough experience to know when you're in the box and you have that kind of cover, you don't want to get close to anybody. Make the smart play. You had cover there. You don't want to go diving.
A brace for Piatti gives Montreal the lead, but Toronto not about to lay down. In the 87th minute, it's Ricketts who ties it up.
This is just Josie Altidore carving out space again. It looked a little bit like Brian Ching to Kalen Carr back in the day. The good old days.
Did Josie mean to do that? Did Ching mean to do
that? No, it just shows his composure, though, from Josie, because the first one, he brings that ball down and then is able to finish. The second one, composure to have a little chest trap, get it in the box. You can tell he's on form right now.
And you could also tell that Montreal have issues they still have to address in the back. That said, I think after this result, even though they didn't get the home win, I think they have to be a more confident locker room, because, look, they know who they are as a team now. It's not Didier Drogba and these other guys. It's everybody in this locker room. We got enough. We got to move forward.
And certainly Montreal is in a bit of shambles at the moment, but they can take heed in the fact that New England had a chance to really put the pressure on them today. But the Rebs needed to win, and they were in Chicago against one of the lesser teams in the league. They had an opportunity to win, but they didn't. And New England is it's mathematically still alive on the precipice of being out.
You were very kind to Chicago right there. They're the first team in MLS history to finish dead last twice in a row. So this was not great for New England.
Yep.
They had their chances. Juan Agudelo hitting the woodwork, I think, 2 more times in this one. I think he leads the league. Kind of back to the drawing board for the Revs a little bit. You know they're going to have off-season reinforcements in that back line especially.
And the Revs would have had a chance to play at home against Montreal next week for a shot to get into the playoffs. And here they are now. The goal deficit is, what is it, 10, 12,
yeah, I
14
think there's it has to be a pair of 7-0. You know, the Revs win 7-0 and the Union lose 7-0, which I don't think is going to happen.
All right, look, we're going to take a quick break here on MLS Matchday Live. We'll come right back. We'll run through the East. We'll go through all the playoff permutations. We'll talk about the Diaz injury some more as more information becomes available, and we'll be right back. We'll get to the West as well.
Outside of the right foot to Diaz. Long range effort. Mauro Diaz beats Lampson. 2 for FC Dallas.
It's about your club. It's about your city. It's about this season. It's about every match. And standing by your colors. Whatever they are, we've got you covered. The game you love in your hand. Breaking news when it happens. All the best match highlights. Real-time stats. And live scores. Hundreds of live match streams. Follow your favorite clubs. Anywhere, anytime. The newly designed MLS app. Download for free today.
I never thought of myself as just a soccer player. I always defined myself as much bigger than that. And now I'm getting a chance to really explore some of those interests, but still be connected to the game. That will always be really important to me. Soccer in my life has been an incredible way of meeting new people and making real friendships. There are so many people that love the game. This is my opportunity to help them share their story.
On the return run, though, David Diaz, the ball! It's a thing of beauty! World-class finish! It's spectacular!
And welcome back to MLS Match Day Live. Week 33 is in the books. We are plowing ahead towards decision day. Boy, there was a lot happening, especially in the Eastern Conference, where the New York Red Bulls are having a day for themselves. But first, before we get the highlights there, we'll get to Metro fan number 1, Kevin Brown, and he's in the social lounge with Susanna.
It's been a good
Top of the
day
East,
for
baby.
Kevin.
Top of the East, baby.
Kevin's a happy man. Guys, reminder, you can tweet us using that hashtag MLS Live Show. Send us your comments, questions, everything. We're going to check in on this hashtag battle real quick. Dallas in a commanding lead here, 59% of the vote. Remember to use the hashtag SHIELD, or SHIELD, COL, when voting for that. And I just want to pull up probably my favorite tweet of the day from Jonathan Denza, who says, please mute Kevin Brown's mic when NYCFC is being discussed. It's embarrassing and unprofessional, and take off that scarf.
So
Your
much
response,
salt. Listen,
Kevin.
the only reason to be that upset with me would be if I was a center back for your trash bag team right now.
Whoa,
I was not at that stadium. I don't know why you're this upset with me. I didn't let in any goals today. Did you let in any goals
I
today?
sure didn't. Nope,
I
not
didn't.
on me.
I don't understand
Not
why he's
on
mad
us.
at me.
It's not on us, guys.
This is straight up Morton's right here.
Woo!
Wow, all right.
It's getting hot in the
I'm
social
gonna
lounge.
take it. You know what? We're going to show some Red Bulls highlights for you. It was a good day. It was a good day for the team that the team from D.C. calls the Pink Cows. I know you didn't like that. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, there you go. This is Red Bulls taking on Columbus, and Grella getting on the board.
Well, I think he heard my criticism in the pregame. He got his first goal in a long time. And then this one is just, they turn Columbus over and they get out on the break and they give it to, is that Thierry Henry, right? No, that was the Thierry Henry
He
goal
learned it from him,
BWP,
though, yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, for a guy who's idle, that is, he sure does emulate him quite well on that play. It's a beautiful goal.
How about more from the man leading the Golden Boot race?
There it is. We never saw a good angle on that. It did look offside, but whatever. He's in the lead for the Golden Boot race, and that's 19 assists on the season for Sasha Kljestan, which is tied for the second most in MLS history.
And by the way, one thing we know about the Red Bulls is that the game is never over for them, and they were up 3, and suddenly they're up 2.
And now they're up 1.
Right?
This will be frustrating for Jesse.
I assume so.
Because this game was dead and buried. It was all over. Then all of a sudden, they're hanging on at the end.
No.
You know,
You're not going to be expected to have to score three goals a match in the playoffs, right? You might win 1-0, and if you're guaranteed to give up goals late in the game, that's not a good sign heading into next
especially
week.
home and away games.
On the first one, they get caught with a high line too, which at this point in the game, 3-0 is pretty unacceptable, right? What do we press? I know they do the high press system, but at a certain point, 3-0, shut it down, get behind the ball, play smart.
Worth noting, Aurelien Collin was off by that time. I don't know whether he came off with an injury or whether they're just trying to save his legs a little bit. You have to wonder. I mean, they've had so many injuries on that back line. It hasn't all clicked for them. I wonder how much that is contributing to these late game issues that they have.
We were doing the hashtag battle earlier in the game. Totally different thing what I just talked about. That's, Colorado and places like that. But we were talking about BWP.
He likes that one, Lee.
Sorry. And David Villa. It looks like Bradley Wright Phillips. He's in a good spot at this point.
He is. He's got that 1-goal lead on David Villa. Villa did get a goal today. He could have gotten 1 or 2 others because NYCFC, even after going down 3-0, kept the pressure on. But I don't think anybody's playing better soccer than DC United. And it's not just winning soccer. It's fun to watch. They're moving the ball around.
But I mean, for NYCFC, they're fun to watch too when it's not leading to goals against. I mean, I like the attempts. It doesn't always work out, but they are an attacking and attractive style.
Yeah, let's talk about BWP. Bradley Wright Phillips, what has impressed you about his maybe transformation as a player over the last few years, or his development as a player?
Well, I think the most important thing is when he was in England, people always recognised that he had talent. Now he's being really consistent, and he's found a place. This is home for him now. Like you said earlier, Matt, he's a star here now. Right. He's a star in New York. I really never thought that when he was at Plymouth Argyle a few years ago.
It's one of the great things about this league is that guys are given a second chance or a second life. And we saw it with Christian Nemeth last year in Kansas City, and BWP is maybe the poster child for that. He just found the right league with the right.
And this move, Heath, you've seen before from Henry, haven't you?
Yeah, the first time I actually played against Henry, I was isolated like 7-8 times in the game, and he did that exact same thing to me every time and beat me every time. But with Bradley Wright Phillips in his position, he gets out to that sideline and he makes these types of goals look easy now, and those are really, really hard goals to score. To get past the guy and then to finish it is puts him in a class of his own.
His technique also stands out for me. I mean, he finishes both feet well, smashes the ball to the back post. He had one against Philly a couple weeks ago when I was at the game where he takes it kind of off the bounce, just tucks it into the corner. He's on another level right now.
All right, look, the Red Bulls have locked up the #1 spot in the Eastern Conference. NYCFC is right there with them and behind them at #2, but they were taking on maybe the hottest team in Major League Soccer right now. It's DC United. The black and red coming in front of a huge crowd, and in the 27th minute, the guy who's been doing it From New York City FC to DC United, it's Patrick Mullins.
Well, this is DC turning possession in the midfield into penetration, which they didn't have earlier in the year. And look, Mullins gets the goal, but that's Luciano Acosta with the brilliant through ball, and then the two wingers, Lloyd Sam on one side, Patrick Nyarko on the other side, making the games bigger.
And then it's Bobby Boswell, set pieces for DC. The vet.
Yeah, I've seen that one before. Bobby, he always seems to find a way in the box to find some space, get some freedom. And then this one from NYCFC, Kevin's going to have a field day with this.
Yeah, there's some issues in the back sometimes. We saw the good and the bad on the pregame show, and that was certainly the bad.
Yeah, but this is DC or NYC being NYC rather. They keep going forward. Again, no matter what the score is, this guy wants to get goals. They had a couple of chances at the end to at least pull one more back. They're going to take this in stride and just keep playing the same thing week after week.
Winning streak now at 4 for DC, right? 4 straight wins.
4th straight win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, going hot at the right time.
Yeah.
People scoring goals. Bags of confidence throughout the team. We even spoke, somebody said they looked like Real Madrid at one stage in the first half. Well, they were popping it about. They were really, really confident. They're going to be dangerous moving forward.
All right, the guy who tweeted at Kevin Brown earlier to mute his mic, I'm sorry, dude. The friendly foe is the foe of foes at this point because he's over there with Andrew Wiebe. Yeah, and he's got some ammunition when it comes to your men in blue.
Look, John Danton, you asked for this, man. Go find the emojis, cover the eyes, cover the ears, because this is going to be real ugly, Kevin. Let's start it up. You want to play out of the back? I get that. Yeah, here you go. You're down 2-0. You probably shouldn't be doing this. There's probably not a chance to be had here. And that ball to who?
Yeah, I seem to remember somebody being on the screen before saying that the key to NYCFC's success was playing out of the back. Is that what that was?
That was what it was. Let's take a
maybe
quick
you saw
look.
something that I didn't see.
You know what I saw? What led to this play? An accidental slip slide by Patrick Mullins. He falls down, he gets the ball, and it turns into a goal. Here's the question. And I think you might have a pretty obvious answer. Do you stick with the strategy here for NYCFC? Do you keep playing out of the back? I mean, they've done it all year. They're in second place in the East because of it. You're a Red Bulls fan, so take his advice with a grain of salt, folks.
I mean, yeah, it sounds great to me. I like the way it's working out for him. That back line is my favorite back line in MLS.
There you have it.
I wish nothing but success for him.
There you have it.
That's beautiful.
Kevin Brown, back to the guys.
All right, Adrian, if you were the coach, if you were Patrick Vieira, would you lighten up a little bit on the must play out of the back thing? Because it does give away goals at times.
Well, it does, but that's part and parcel of doing it. You're either all in or you're all out. Some of you can't play and some of you can't kick it long. You're either all playing or you're not. And I think that it's been very evident all season that Patrick Vieira is going to make these play out from the back, take chances at times. But we saw earlier on, occasionally it comes off some incredible play. But, at 2-0 down, they've been very fortunate to even give themselves a lifeline in this game.
There's a difference between committing to a vision and playing out of the back and playing a square ball across the face of goal in front of your goalkeeper, right? That's different.
I love it.
And
it's so great.
But think about it this way. They lose the game 3-1, right? If it goes 2-1, they're right in it. They got a chance. If they keep it at 2-1 before half, or 2-0 before half, they're back in it with one goal.
But it's not just that. Wasn't just the play from today was a bad example of what trying to play out of the back was usually. When they try to play out of everything, they invite that risk. And I know as a big picture thing, you want to try that. You want to keep that system. You don't want to keep messing with that all year long. But it also requires certain personnel who can execute that consistently all year long.
Yeah, and then also set pieces are an issue. For NYCFC, we saw it again with Bobby Boswell getting that goal. And another thing that could come up and bite you in the playoffs is just giving one up on the set pieces.
I think they lead the league in set piece goals conceded. I think it was 18 or 19. And more bad news today when Ronald Monterita was subbed off at halftime with some sort of ankle knock. You hope for their sake that's not a long-term thing because he's been so key to what they do. And you guys are right. Look, MLS is filled with pragmatic coaches, and Patrick Vieira is not that. He's just flipping where on the field the risk reward is. He wants to invite teams forward, and once his team breaks through that first line, they're able to get out on the run, and then that's where you really like NYCFC's chances. It's been fun to watch. I don't think they're going to change at all ahead of the playoffs.
Hey, look, they're going to be in the playoffs, which is a big deal for that club. Philadelphia Union are most likely going to be in the playoffs in case something catastrophic or bizarre happens.
They're backing right in.
And they are backing right into the playoffs. They can't win, but it doesn't really matter. They played against Orlando at home today. They had a chance to just win their way in. Instead, well, different things happened. along the banks of the Delaware River.
This is a little bit, I think, what we suspected would happen. Orlando City, without a ton of pressure on them, kind of played free and were able to get out and show a little bit what they wanted. And this guy in particular, Carlos Rivas, when he can get out and run, like this isn't the greatest touch right here, but then it's followed up by a fortunate touch, and Keegan Rosenberg can't quite clear it.
That's when he's at his best, Carlos.
Yeah.
With space in front of him, incredibly quick. And then he has another run. And then, you know, in this particular game, they had a couple of opportunities fairly early on, and they didn't take him. And the more the game went on, you always felt that they were susceptible to this to get done on the break late on.
And that's it. I mean, that's five now, or 6 without a win for Philadelphia. It doesn't matter. They are going to get in, and now they have next week to try to figure out what's going wrong. They got to start scoring goals. They got to start being tight at the back again.
That's scary time zone. I know I said before, for Philly, it's enough to get into the playoffs, but it's not a sign of confidence when you're heading into the playoffs like this. You're just kind of hanging on, and the teams that usually win the MLS Cup are the teams that are really, really in top form, even if they had rough patches earlier in the year.
Yeah, it's got the look of a one-and-done team in Philadelphia, even if they do get in. Suzanne, I'm going to throw it over to you just to see if there's anything coming out of the East before we head to break.
There sure is, Russ. In fact, just a reminder, guys, keep using that hashtag MLS Live Show. We want your questions. We want your thoughts. We want more abuse to Kevin because he can take it. We know this.
It's coming back. I got these jokes.
But
don't catch these Twitter fingers.
Listen, Jonathan B. David, who is a huge fan of MLS and This Week in MLS, that's the show that I host, he has this question for you guys. Are the Red Bulls the clear favorite to win the league this year, win the MLS Cup? What do you think? Is it the Red Bulls?
To win the league?
I don't think there is a clear favorite.
No.
I mean, they're not. Obviously, they're not going to win the Shield. They were officially eliminated from that today. But look, they play, I think, at times the best soccer in the league. They have a very obvious flaw, and you could say that same exact thing about Dallas. You could say it about NYCFC. You could probably say it about DC. You could probably say it about Toronto as well, and obviously Colorado. There is no clear favorite. I think next month is going to be absolutely bonkers.
Adrian, you like the way they play, though.
Yeah, I think that if they play at their best, they're very, very difficult to beat. I still think that if they can keep everybody fit, the couple of goals that Bradley Wright Phillips has got today will certainly keep him confident. They're going to need that. Sasha with another assist. Grella will be better on the back of the fact that he's got another goal. They're really, really dangerous. I don't think anybody wants to play the Red Bulls.
All right, well, they're all playing for MLS Cup. We're going to be here for Decision Day next week with 20 teams and 10 games all at once beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's when the games kick off. We'll be on the air well before that. At 3 p.m. Eastern, we're coming right back with a final look at the Western Conference and some thoughts on how it all stacks up for Decision Day next.
Nicely done. Send it out to Castillo. Now Kellen has it back. Outside of the right foot to Diaz. Long range effort. Mauro Diaz beats Swanson. 2 for FC Dallas.
It's about your club. It's about your city. It's about this season. It's about every match. And standing by your colors. Whatever they are, we've got you covered. The game you love in your hand. Breaking news when it happens. All the best match highlights. Real-time stats. And live scores. Hundreds of live match streams. Follow your favorite clubs. Anywhere, anytime. The newly designed MLS app. Download for free today.
I never thought of myself as just a soccer player. I always defined myself as much bigger than that. And now I'm getting a chance to really explore some of those interests, but still be connected to the game. That will always be really important to me. Soccer in my life has been an incredible way of meeting new people and making real friendships.
Check it out.
There are so many people that love the game. This is my opportunity to help them share their story.
Villa on the return run though. David Villa, the ball! It's a thing of beauty! World-class finish!
And welcome back. We are here on MLS Matchday Live. The final push to the playoffs is in full swing. East and West all going at it all together. First East, then West. And out West, the team that was leading the Supporter Shield standings coming into this game, Colorado Rapids, in Portland to take on the Timbers. Glenn Davis and Brian Dunseth had the call on ESPN, and after the game, they filed this report.
The entire mood of a city has changed here in Portland, Oregon. Fernando Adi, the game's goal scorer. And the Portland Timbers have wrestled back their own destiny when it comes to the Major League Soccer playoffs. They get a 1-0 win today over the Colorado Rapids here in a very rabid soccer city. Glenn Davis alongside Brian Dunseth. Coming into this one tonight, the pressure firmly on the Portland Timbers. In the end, they get it done.
Yeah, they did. First 45 minutes I thought was fantastic. They made life incredibly difficult. When they lost the ball, they swarmed and won the ball back. It was wave after wave after wave. Second half, a completely different story. But when you talk about the Portland Timbers, the focal point will be Fernando Adi. And the moment that ball drops down, it causes so much havoc. Bobby Burling comes through the backside of Vitas. Fernando Adi steps to the spot, and he gives Portland the 1-0 lead 35 minutes. Just 5 minutes later, Vitas once again causes havoc. This time it's Michael Azira with the shirt tug. Fernando Adi from the spot. Timmy Howard goes the same exact way. Initial save, and what a horrific miss that was for Adi. It would go into the break 1-0. Start of the second 45 minutes, a different mentality for Colorado. Kevin Doyle off the crossbar. Combination play, Kevin Doyle off the left post. Plenty of opportunities. Unfortunately for Colorado, they weren't able to steal a point on the road tonight.
All right, first question. We heard Ziggy Schmidt say it in studio during this game. Should Fernando Adi have taken a second consecutive penalty?
Yeah, the only reason we're talking about it is because he missed. For me, I don't have a problem with it. I think the bigger question mark was when you have a guy like Diego Valeri pulling the strings and so consistent from the spot over the years, why wasn't he the #1 choice? Obviously, Fernando Adi has the trust of the training staff.
Portland Timbers now, their destiny in their own hands. They beat Vancouver. They are in. The Colorado Rapids still can win the Supporter Shield here, and they are a team to be destined to be contended with in the playoffs.
Yeah, for Portland, I think the big question is how do they manage Wednesday, CONCACAF Champions League, a must-win against Saprissa, and then knowing they have to go to Vancouver, potentially without Diego Valeri because of injury, but without Diego Chara and Liam Redgewell because of the yellow cards they took this afternoon.
Momentum has been regained in Portland. They do have their own MLS playoff futures. Well, they can decide it on their own at Vancouver. Portland Timbers 1-0 winners over Colorado today in Portland.
Yep. All right, guys, thank you very much from out there in Portland. And the Timbers do indeed control what's going to happen to them with the playoffs, even though they're on the outside looking in right now, because it was the Adi miss, right? The second miss that kind of puts them below the red line at this point.
Yeah, it leaves them below the red line for today. But if they go on the road and win next week, which they haven't done all year, by the way, they might they're going to have to do without Diego Chara and without Liam Ridgewell and maybe without Diego Valeri, then they're in. So there's a lot of ifs and caveats in there. So just enough.
It's pretty,
But they're also playing Saprissa midweek.
Yep.
And in the Champions League, and so
in a game they need, right?
Yep. They need to win that one. This is a
what do you
big
do if
6-8
you're Caleb
days
Porter?
right here.
What do you put the priority on here?
I think that he will go with the best team he can. and hope that
midweek?
keep his fingers crossed that he doesn't get injured, because they've got an opportunity, and they proved last year, once you get in, whether you get in on the last day, doesn't matter. You've got an opportunity of winning it again if you can get in on the last day. We all thought they'd win today. Well, most of us did. But it was probably a little bit too close for comfort for Caleb. They were hanging on at the death today.
Yeah, hit the post a couple times. Colorado did. I thought they showed really well on the road. Didn't get the result. Obviously, they ended up on the other side of a 1-0 result. But Portland, hey, they got the job done. They deserve a ton of credit.
All right, let's send it back out to the Rose City. Jillian Sakovits is there. After the game, she caught up with Caleb Porter and Jack Jewsbury.
Coach, you've spoken all year about the adversity that you guys in this team has faced, the highs, the lows. What does it say about your club to be able to come out here today and respond?
Yeah, I had all the faith and belief in this team. I've seen it time and again. When I need more, I get more. And I thought first half we were excellent. Should have scored a couple more goals. Second half, we weren't great, but we bent, we didn't break, and sometimes you got to just grind out a 1-0 win. A win's a win. Wasn't pretty, but we'll take it.
And now you know what's next, Vancouver on the road, where you guys have been good, but this season have yet to win on the road. How are you going to do it?
Well, we got to focus on the Champions League game Wednesday first, but we know now because of this result and the others that if we win versus Vancouver, we're in the playoffs. That's what we wanted. We control our destiny, and if we can win that game, then now we roll into the knockout, and we've got all the momentum in the world. So this is what we thought might happen. We got to take it one at a time.
Jack, this team stays alive now. One more week. You guys get it done here at home. How'd you do it?
Yeah, we knew what we had to do. We've been good at home all year. We've had good form. So tough team against Colorado, especially in the conditions. It wasn't pretty at all times. But, yeah, we got the job done. Now we look forward to next week. We'll see what happens around the league with the scores. But we realize we got to go on the road and play a bit better and get our first win.
And you get the win, and it was a special game for you, your last home game of your career.
Yeah.
Special pregame before. How special was that for you?
Yeah, it was. It was a bit emotional. I have a lot of family and friends in town. Obviously, the girls were out with me before the game. So held back the tears, but it was a special day and glad we could cap it off with 3 points.
All right, Jack, now you guys head to Vancouver and you look for your first road win of the season. How confident are you guys that you can kind of find that magic 34th week of the season?
Yeah, we feel good about it. I think last year we kind of peaked at the right time, and we want to do the same thing this year. And the reality is you got to go on the road and win the playoffs, so we might as well start it the last week of the season, and we'll go from there.
Jack, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Jillian, good stuff there. For Colorado, they don't come out with a win. Silver lining?
The silver lining, as Adrian said, they played pretty well in the second half, but also they're officially qualified for the CCL because they're going to finish in no worse than third place. That means one of the spots already spoken for by FC Dallas. The other spot probably going to be the Red Bulls, and then the tiebreaker is your standing, your rank in the Supporters' Shield standings. Oh. So Colorado will be playing continental soccer next year. Who predicted that? Nobody.
Look, and they got a winnable game at home against Houston. Dallas is the team they're battling it out for the Supporters' Shield with, and Dallas is a tough game on the road in LA. And Jermaine Jones could end up being back in the lineup. What would that do for Colorado at this point of the year?
I mean, they could really use him. I think they've got a ton going well for them. Doyle has reemerged now. He's hit the crossbar and the post in this game, but he's coming back at the right time. Dominic Baji, of course, also a name that's been hot over the last couple weeks. But there's no replacement for Jermaine Jones. I think if this team wants to come in, his personality, his quality on the field, I feel like he's going to add a little bit of extra bite into that midfield as well and bomb forward.
It probably wasn't a coincidence that New England Revolution went all the way when Jermaine Jones was there as well. Yeah. Between now and then, getting him back fit and healthy, really thriving on all cylinders. Him and Tim Howard are going to be massive for the Rapids.
It feels like New England missed that more maybe in the locker room than they did on the field, and it says a lot about this Colorado team that they kept their focus and they kept their sharpness even with Jones out for the last 3-4 months.
Yeah, now if they get him back, he's the kind of guy that take away the goals and assists. He does all the dirty work and all the things that you want a midfielder to be able to do. He does very, very well, and that lifts the team up naturally. It's not necessarily spoken word or anything like that. It's just literally his energy that he creates within his team.
All right, so Colorado's feeling good. Look, Dallas has to be feeling good about the result today against Seattle Sounders. Seattle needed a result themselves to get into the playoffs in the Western Conference. Let's take you down there to Frisco, Texas, and here we go.
I mean, this game was cagier than I think a lot of people expected, and that's the cagiest of them all. Nicholas Ladero with that free kick. He caught Chris Sykes cheating right there. And honestly, that goal doesn't happen if a couple minutes before the Sounders defense does, the Dallas defense does better on the attacking set piece from Seattle.
But as Kalen mentioned before, this had the energy of a playoff matchup. This had the intensity. This had those implications that you start to see that kind of shift in energy and pride within the team. And then you mentioned earlier that they didn't go and get the striker that they wanted. I disagree. That's Pescadito scoring. They went out and got him.
They went out and got a guy with 100 MLS goals, and he just showed why. He's two steps smarter than anybody else just up here.
But this could be the moment now.
Yeah, Mauro Diaz being stretchered off at the end of the game. Kellen Acosta also injured in this contest as well. Dallas has some real issues coming out of this game. There's a report coming out from the Metroplex in the Dallas area that Acosta is on crutches right now, and that Diaz was taken to the hospital.
Oh, God.
So that's just one report. You look for two. But, I mean, just the way, the optics of this for Dallas, the huge ramifications.
That's the worst scenario they could possibly have.
Yeah.
Two of their most influential players in the heart of the midfield. One breaking it up, feeding, the guy who's the playmaker. So they can ill afford these two being injured.
We just saw that little pass from Diaz on Pescadito's goal, and it's just sublime. The little chipper over the top. First time, sees it, and let's talk about that finish, by the way, because that was not an easy thing to do. To be able to locate that ball over the shoulder and put it on frame with an on-rushing goalkeeper, that's
Is that a
difficult.
Heath Pierce level finish, do you think?
Men's league? Yes, definitely. Now that he's reinvented himself as a striker.
I would agree with that.
I think the thing with Dallas now, if you look at the Shield race, and obviously you just hope that Acosta and Diaz are okay, but either way, they got to go to LA next week. Whereas Colorado are hosting Houston at home. I don't think LA has given up any points to FC Dallas next week. And I think if Colorado get the home win over the Houston Dynamo, they will claim their franchise's first supporter shield.
And that's another thing for everybody watching. You just saw scroll along the bottom of the screen the multitude of injuries, not just for FC Dallas. We saw from teams across the league today in the second to last weekend of the regular season. Another team, in fact, two teams that don't like each other, that have some serious history each other, were playing in Utah today. RSL and Sporting Kansas City. And these two teams are fighting tooth and neck just to get into the playoffs and also for positioning in the West.
Yeah, and I think that, honestly, both these teams needed it, but it was a little bit better result for Sporting Kansas City. But we saw that from RSL all day, getting loose at the back post. And then some, Nick Rimando being Nick Rimando. I think the man deserves his Goalkeeper of the Year award finally this year.
But what about this decision? This is the worst decision of the day.
Yeah.
That would have been huge for Kansas City.
Oh, yeah, and if they win, if they score there, it changes the whole complex of this game. It was a huge decision from the referee. Some great saves from both goalkeepers, though.
More than one of you predicted a draw in this game.
We did all right. We're a bunch of geniuses on these couches over here. But no, honestly, I think that if you're Sporting, you're probably pretty happy with this because they did create a bunch, and I think they had their looks. There were a couple that maybe Dom Dwyer wants back. If you're RSL, you're a little bit worried because this is 5 or 6 in a row now. They're not generating offense. And, oh, by the way, another guy who got injured today was Yeremov Sissi, and he was subbed out with about 20 minutes left.
Be interesting see what Peter says after this game, Peter Vermees.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And RSL has to go to Seattle on decision day. A team above both of those in the Western Conference, LA Galaxy taking on Houston Dynamo, a team in Houston that went to Seattle and got a result midweek. And so obviously they can cause some problems for people. And LA had their hands full for a good portion of this game against Houston Dynamo.
They did, and this was LA coming out in a 4-4-2, which is, I think, what a lot of fans want to see.
And Landon Donovan started.
Landon Donovan started on the wing, and hey, that guy's pretty good. And they put Houston under pressure, and then they got a goal, which I don't think we're going to be calling Jogo Bonito anytime soon. But this is, look, this is more classic Bruce Arena soccer than what we saw in 2014 when they were just scoring 2-3 goals every game. Grind it down, grind it out, get the result.
You kind of felt like the goal was inevitable, sadly, for my Houston people. But, I think for a guy like Alan Gordon, he's a valuable player on this team. A guy that's got a lot of respect in the locker room, and it's going to be, while LA has the stars and they need Keane back, it's going to take some role players to step up in the playoffs, and Gordon did it today.
Very much an Alan Gordon goal and an Alan Gordon celebration.
He said he's been working on it all week in training.
then you have to score the goal if you're going to work on it. Susanna, what do you got over there for us?
Yeah, so going back to Dallas and that injury to Mauro Diaz, Turtle, great name, great Avi, by the way. Turtle wants to know who replaces Diaz in the lineup if he is done for the season.
Oh, God, how do you replace Mauro Diaz? Who plays there?
You don't replace him 1 for 1. They have the Colombian fellow Lizarazo, who was at Cruz Azul last year. He's had only a few minutes this season. He hasn't looked particularly good. If not him, I think it's probably too early to throw the young kid Paxton Pomacall in there, who they just signed a couple weeks ago. But he is he's 12 months younger than Christian Pulisic.
Should bring up David Ferreira's son, right?
Yeah.
Former number 10. His son is in the academy system. Just bring him up.
Another future star.
Yeah, I mean, they all practice on the fields right next to where the first team practices.
No, I mean, they got some
one of the fast ones.
It'll be good if he's anything like his father was.
Yeah, absolutely. They could use something like that. Look, we're going to take a break. Lots more to get to, including predictions for Decision Day. That's coming up right after this. Stick around.
I never thought of myself as just a soccer player. I always defined myself as much bigger than that. And now I'm getting a chance to really explore some of those interests, but still be connected to the game that will always be really important to me. Soccer in my life has been an incredible way of meeting new people and making real friendships. Check it out. There are so many people that love the game. This is my opportunity to help them share their story.
It's about your club. It's about your city. It's about this season. It's about every match. And standing by your colors. Whatever they are, we've got you covered.
The game you love in your hand.
Breaking news when it happens. All the best match highlights. Real-time stats. And live scores. Hundreds of live match streams. Follow your favorite clubs. Anywhere, anytime. The newly designed MLS app. Download for free today.
And we're back here on MLS Match Day Live. Week 33 is in the books, so now it's time for us to look ahead to Decision Day. And we're going to be back here previewing it all at 3 p.m. Eastern a week from today, and then we'll be back for the post-game show when the playoff field is set. But right now, why don't we just go with the schedule and see what's going to happen and what's all on the line, starting in the Eastern Conference for the East, okay? And we got New England and Montreal. Let's start with Toronto and Chicago, actually. What do you expect to have happen there with TFC?
Oh, if Toronto doesn't win at home against Chicago, they should be absolutely embarrassed. They got to stomp the Fire.
All right, we'll move it on down. Orlando and DC United. What do you expect from the hottest team in the league against Orlando that just went into Philly and got a result?
DC was the most impressive team on the day for me, and so I think they can continue that run of form and get a win.
All right, New York City FC is a team that we've been making fun of a little bit on this show, but mainly it's because of Kevin Brown. It's all his fault, the friendly foe. But look, New York City is going to host Columbus, final home regular season game. What do you like about New York heading towards the playoffs on decision day?
They score goals. They score goals, and obviously in David Villa they've got somebody who's a game changer. I fully expect him to win this game, although I thought Columbus today, they never gave in against New York Red Bulls. And knowing Greg Berhalter, they'll come out, they'll be well organised, and they'll have a right good go. They want to spoil the party.
You think we might see Frank Lampard? Like, we talk about Jermaine Jones coming back to Colorado. Could Lampard show up here?
They're so secretive, you never know how hurt or not their guys are. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he went out there and played 85 minutes, and it wouldn't surprise me if we didn't see him again this year. You don't know with NYCFC. They keep it tight.
All right. So how about the Red Bulls, who we know have locked up the first spot? Philadelphia, though, needs to get something going, right, Kalen? Like, don't they need something positive going into the playoffs?
Yeah, you want to finish on a high because they're going to be in that knockout round. So they want to go into that with a win. Now, they went toe-to-toe with the Red Bulls at Red Bull Arena just a couple weeks back. Had a great performance. I feel like this is going to be one that if they can take down the top team in the East to enter the playoffs, that's enough for them to have a lot of confidence.
Yeah, how quickly can they get this thing going? Jim Curtin and the guys.
I think the next 7 days are the most important, obviously, of their whole season. This is when that locker room has to come together, whether it's tactical with the coach or without the coach. Those players have to come together and say, what happened before this moment doesn't matter. We're essentially in the playoffs, and now we have to make something of this run.
All right, here we go. We're going to put the schedule up once again for the Eastern Conference. We're going to go around the horn. Quick predictions on each game. TFC in Chicago, starting with Doyle.
Oh, TFC's going to stomp them. Absolutely.
Okay.
TFC.
TFC. Absolutely.
All right, Kalen, how about you? Orlando and DC United.
Well, yeah, I already got it, Russ. I'm stumping for DC. Bobby Boswell and the gang don't get enough respect. They were the best team today. I think they get a win.
It's your old club.
Last game at the Citrus Bowl before they move into the new stadium next year, that will be a draw.
A draw, okay, and which would feel like a win for Orlando at that point?
Well, it would be after the last few weeks, yeah.
Yeah, how about you, Orlando?
I'm going with Orlando as well. Final home game of the season. Give the fans something to look forward to in the next season, so win for Orlando.
I'm going to call a draw as well. I just think that they actually played pretty well today, and I think they can keep that going against a DC team that maybe would be looking past it a little bit.
New York City and Columbus, crew.
I think NYCFC gets it done at home, but like Adrian said, Columbus are going to give it a go.
All right, let's go.
NYCFC at home.
Me too, NYC.
I'm going Columbus Crew in this one.
All right, New England, Montreal.
Montreal. I just feel like sometimes when something like this happens in a locker rooms come together. I feel like the group is going to really come together and fight together. I think they're going to get the win.
Rebs and Impact, and does Drogba play?
No, Drogba doesn't play, and I think a lot of the Revs players have got one or two things to prove and to play for, and I think the Revs will win at home.
And finally, Philly. I know, you keep going, actually. Who do you got?
All right, I've got Montreal.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Montreal on the road as well, which may be dumb, but I think that the Revs look a little bit spent.
And finally, Philly and the Red Bulls.
I'm going to call this one a draw as well, and I'm going to say the name, Chris Pontius. He always torments the Red Bulls. He'll get at least one more next week.
Did it with DC, continuing with Philadelphia as well.
I'm going with the Red Bulls on the road.
Red Bulls on the road?
Yeah.
Finishing strong. How about you?
I'm taking a draw.
You draw? Again, you like the draws?
No, well, I've not done bad with the draws today, by the way.
That's true.
I normally go with Coach, but I'm going to say Philadelphia. They treat this one like a playoff game and get a win.
All right, and let's go over to the Western Conference. Okay, we got to make some predictions on the Western Conference. Final push to the playoffs, decision day. We got 2 minutes left in this show, so let's get it up there. We got the LA Galaxy and FC Dallas.
LA Galaxy protect their home court. They take all 3 points.
3 points for LA Galaxy.
LA Galaxy.
Galaxy with no Diaz, maybe no Acosta.
I'm with Coach.
All right, how about Vancouver and Portland? Huge game for the Timbers.
Don't bet against Caleb Porter in October. Portland goes up there and gets the win.
I agree. Win for Portland.
Win for Portland. First of the year. They haven't won yet on the road.
I'm going to another draw, Russ.
Right time of the year to get their first road win.
All right, Sporting San Jose.
I think Sporting's going to need this one. Yeah, San Jose, not a ton to play for at this point. May play some younger guys, get them some experience. I think Sporting gets the win.
Sporting at home is always difficult. Plenty to play for. I think Sporting will win.
I'm saying San Jose just because I'm from California.
I'm going to call it a draw. I think that San Jose locks it in defensively, and we get another scoreless draw for Sporting KC.
A lot of it on the line, especially if you guys all think that Dallas is going to lose. This is going to the Supporter Shield's going to be decided. Seattle, Salt Lake, Colorado, and Houston. Huge games right there. Let's go pick both of them.
I'm picking both home teams. Seattle wins, Colorado wins.
I'm going with Seattle win because I said they're going to go far and they let me down today, and then I'm going with Colorado winning as well.
Same again. Seattle and Colorado, both home wins.
No draws.
No draws, no.
Yeah, I agree. I like Seattle's fighting spirit, and Colorado is too much to handle for Houston right now.
It's been a fun day. Doyle, Heath Pierce, Adrian Heath, great to have you on the show, for sure. Kaylin Carr, Susanna Collins, Kevin Brown, Andrew Wiebe, and everybody involved. Thanks so much for watching MLS Match. There you go. We went over to the social lounge one more time. No, we got you on. Next week, we're here with Siggy Schmid and Martin Rennie for Decision Day. An MLS Match Day Live, 3 p.m. Eastern, and then when the games are done, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern as well. Check out MLSsoccer.com all week long for all the latest news. And boy, is there a lot of news, especially of the injury variety, which will affect everyone. Thanks so much for watching us all day. We'll see you all this week on MLSsoccer.com.
Montreal Impact. Out comes frustration immediately. In the last 15. Right there, but that.